of Kings, Lord of Lords, you are holy, 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 holy.
Hey everybody, it's Roxy, Kyler, and Eli, and we just heard Pastor Tim talk about aspiring to be vulnerable. Does anyone know what vulnerable mean?
Be kind.
Being kind. So vulnerable is when you kind of let down all of your guards and you are just who you are. So sometimes being vulnerable might mean that instead of showing that you're angry or like you know everything on the outside, you just say, oh, I'm going to just like not pretend to be someone that I'm not and feel like I'm not, but I'm just going to be me and I'm going to tell you that I'm scared or that I'm sad. And these are my true feelings that I'm feeling on the inside, not just something that I'm showing on the outside. If you have like a piece of metal that's vulnerable, it means that it might break. So you could even think of that. Being vulnerable might be us being willing to kind of be who we are in the chance that we might break or, I don't know, let someone in. Because that's kind of scary, but also really good because then we get closer to people. And that's what God calls us to be, is to be in community with people. This lesson that we are going to do today is about the Ark and the Covenant, and we learned about Moses and the 10 Commandments that Moses got on Mount Sinai from God. So remember our lesson last week about all of the kind of rules and guidelines for the 10 best ways to live, to love God, to love people, and to remember that God loves you. And when the people got these 10 commandments, they wanted to keep it safe for forever. And so we're going to find out how they think they can make sure that the 10 commandments and God is not vulnerable, right? They want to keep them strong, keep them protected, make sure that they always have them wherever they go because God gave this to them. And what we find out throughout the Bible is that God is everywhere and God's not vulnerable. God is strong and God is with us no matter what. And God is more present with us when we are vulnerable and allow ourselves to be who God made us to be. So I hope you enjoy this story. When God gave the people the 10 best ways to live, they loved them so much that they wanted to always have them. God told them to build a box with an ark to keep them in and to cover the ark with gold. It had poles on the side so that the people could always carry it with them wherever they went. You can't just walk up to something so precious as the 10 Commandments. You need someone in some way to get ready. They wondered what they could do. God told them to put an altar of incense in front of the ark. They could burn the incense to make a good smelling smoke. You could walk through the smoke and smell the aroma. That could help you get ready, but that wasn't enough. God told them to put a table and 12 pieces of bread on one side and a 7-branched lampstand called a menorah on the other side. People would walk between the table with a piece of bread for each of the 12 tribes of Israel on one side and the menorah on the other side. They could also help them get ready, but that wasn't enough. Next, they decided to put the walls of a tent around the ark. The incense altar and the menorah and the table to keep this place set apart, to help them get ready to come close to God's presence. Inside the tent, they made a place called the Holy of Holies. Over the roof, they put 4 coverings. One was linen. Another was made from woven goat's hair. The third was ram skin dyed red. And finally, the outer one was tanned goat skins. But that still wasn't enough. Now, only the priests could go inside. Now they put in front of the tent an altar covered with bronze for sacrifices. They also made a huge bowl of bronze that the priests could wash their hands to get ready for the whole special area, which is called the tabernacle. That was not all. The priests began to wear special clothes to help them to get ready to go inside this special place. When all of the tabernacle was finished, Moses blessed it. Aaron and all of his sons were made to be priests, and they took care of the tent and the ark. Wherever the people of God traveled, the Levites helped them to care for the tabernacle and to conduct the whole worship there. God gave Aaron and his sons the words to bless the people of God. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Now I wonder, what was your favorite part of the story? I wonder if you saw anything or anyone that was especially vulnerable. I wonder if maybe some of what they dressed like or that they did made it so God was not vulnerable, or that what God gave them, the commandments, were not vulnerable, so that they wouldn't break the 10 commandments. Maybe they thought that all of these things would keep God safe.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So do you think if someone didn't wash their hands before they came inside of the tent, did God still love them?
Yes.
So just if they didn't wash their hands or sacrifice something, I wonder if God was still there.
Yeah.
And if God still loved them.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this roof of many animal furs and hides kept God in here.
Yes.
Like God couldn't get out, right? I wonder if God is truly just inside of here. You don't think so?
I think so.
You think so? God's in this teeny tiny gold box. That's it. God can't be anywhere else. So we just have to keep this one thing safe. And then God will always be with us.
To always be answers with everywhere.
Yeah, so what they ended up learning and what we find out in other stories is God's everywhere. Not just in this gold tiny box. And God can't be held hostage in a tent with all of these animal furs and skins on top. And so in my mind, God is not vulnerable. God can't be broken. God can't be lost. We're vulnerable. But if we don't show our true selves with God and with each other, I think that that's what we need to do, right? I think we need to be vulnerable so that we can truly open up our hearts to God. But if we put on this image that we are someone different, right? Like the priests started wearing different clothes than normal. And I wonder if that actually presented themselves as themselves to God. And I wonder how that looks different if the priest was just to walk up in his running shorts and t-shirt, right? Sweaty from going on a run. If he was just like himself, that's pretty vulnerable.
Yeah, one is itself.
Yeah. And I believe that God still loves you no matter what you wear, no matter what you look like, and that we should be vulnerable and show our true self. That's what I think. But I wonder what you think. See y'all later.